foremost, this is Shabbat class for April 9th, 2016. And the title of this is going to be called The Powers Our Bodies Possess in the Name of the Father, Abanawa Yahweh. And we want to get into this. I bring out Colossians 3 and 17 for me.
Colossians 3 and 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of our Lord, Yahweh God, giving thanks to Yahweh and by the Father, by Him.
Done. Everything we do in word or deed is in the name of the Father. All right, give me Psalms 111 and verse 10. Let's go there. Psalms 111 and verse 10.
Psalms 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Right, so the fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. And how do you fear Him? By keeping His commandments. And when you break those commandments, you should have some kind of fear of guilt in your spirit, in your body, in your mind, that you're going against the Most High. So that's the fear of the Most High. It's keeping His laws, and when you break them, you should be in fear of that. The wisdom is coming from the commandments and avoiding all wickedness. Read on that.
A good understanding of all they that do His commandments. His praise endures forever.
Right, so His praise is going to endure forever as long as you keep His commandments and you follow His ways. And so what we get from that is a spiritual understanding. But a lot of people who find out about the truth and come into the truth, they get this spiritual pride. And that spiritual pride brings abominable ways by using favors of the Most High for vanity and making idols for ourselves. And a lot of people do that. In the different religions, people use the vain power that they get from the Most High's word to use it to get people to go to the left of the Most High and not follow His ways. And so they don't have the fear of the Most High, nor do they have the understanding of what the Most High is saying in the scriptures and helping people and helping them get well in their spirit. Bring out Psalms 145 and 17 for me out.
Okay. Psalms 145, verse 17. The Lord is righteousness in all His ways, and holy in all His works.
Right, so the Most High is the righteous one. Okay? Are men and women righteous? No, we're not righteous unless we follow Him. This is why His Son came and died for the sins of all of Israel. He came and He was the only one to really walk in the ways of the Most High perfectly. 2 Corinthians 5 and 21.
2 Corinthians 5, verse 21. But He had made Him to be sin for us, who knew no sin.
Who knew no sin. Come on.
That we might be made the righteousness of the Most High in Him.
Right, so by following Him, we might be made the righteousness of the Most High by seeing what He did, seeing how He dealt with people, seeing how He was humble, seeing how He got upset when His people knew the laws and broke them. Okay? Because he exemplified the Most High in all His emotions. The Most High has many emotions and not just being happy. We get all our emotions from Him. Being angry, being happy, being sad, being emotional, that comes from the Most High. But the Most High controls His emotions. He knows how to use them at the right time. So Hamashiach Yahushai showed us how to exemplify the Most High. Okay? So let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 4. And I say all of this because before we get into the understanding of the powers that we have, we first, like you all know, we must walk in the light of the Most High first by keeping His commandments. Okay, this is the first teaching that we must understand. Deuteronomy 32 and 4.
Deuteronomy 32, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
He is the rock. He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are just a God of truth and without iniquity. Just right is he.
Right. So the Most High is showing us He is our rock. We are not to put our trust in anything other than Him. Okay. A lot of us put our trust in the wrong things, and we don't mean it at first, but over a period of time, we really start putting our trust in it wholeheartedly. But our trust should be in the Most High and His Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, who was His angel during the Old Testament. Okay? He is the rock. All right? So that rock is the truth, and the truth is what's going to set us free. So we know no matter what we are going through, to trust in Him, the Most High will deliver us through the good and the bad. Some of us are still dealing with the grief of sorrow of just being in this truth alone. This is why we tell our people all over and over again, you cannot be in this truth by yourself. We need each other to have a sound mind, all right? Married and single women and men, stay close to the church. You single men and women who's searching for wives or husbands, stay close to the church. And just looking for a husband or a wife shouldn't be your main goal. That shouldn't be the only reason you're in the church. So let's find out who the church is. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 44, verse 21. The main goal is to get the understanding of the Most High. Okay? So you look at the Christian churches and you see a lot of that going on. Many people go to church for the wrong reasons. They go to church for many different reasons, and they walk away with nothing, with the empty bag, because they're going for the wrong reasons. Isaiah 44 and 21. Read that out.
Isaiah 44, verse 21. Remember this, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant. O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me.
Now, people read over this. They read, remember these, O Jacob and Israel. Now, the Most High is specifying a people who He loves. But when people read that in the Christian churches, they just read it. And they act like this don't exist. They say, see, you put yourself in that place. No, this is talking about a designated people. Remember, this Bible was written for all the tribes of Israel, from Genesis to the last book of the Bible, Revelation. So He says, remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. You're going to be His servant forever. Remember He said that? Forever and ever, when we read that in Psalms 111 and 10. So Jacob and Israel is the rod of His inheritance. All right? Read on up. Read verse 22.
I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgression.
Stop. So He said,
as a cloud.
Stop right there. All right? So He said, I blotted out as a thick cloud your transgressions. Now, who sinned and broke the commandments? Who received the commandments in the wilderness? It was the children of Israel. The Egyptians didn't receive the commandments. All right? The Edomites didn't receive the commandments. No other nation received the commandments. Moabites, the Ammonites, nobody received it. But who? The children of Israel. So they received the law. So when he says in verse 22, your transgressions, and He's speaking in 21, He said, O Israel and Jacob. So who is the people who broke the laws? Israel. Who did Christ return to teach them how to keep the laws properly? Israel. So the transgressions are the ones who are the breakers who own the laws from the get-go, the first covenant. Okay? Read on out.
And as a cloud thy sins return unto me. So I have redeemed thee.
Right. He has redeemed who? He has redeemed us. Redeemed Israel. So the whole point of us is coming back to the Most High as a church. He redeemed Israel as that church. Let's go to Acts 7 and 38. Let's make sure that we know what he's talking about. So we're going to go into the New Testament and show you that the Most High is speaking about Israel. Acts 7 and 38. Okay, when you get it, go ahead and read it out.
Acts 7, verse 38. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness.
In the where?
This was he that was in the wilderness.
Right, so this is this
So this was he that was in the church in the wilderness.
in the wilderness. So the first church was in the wilderness. And who was in the wilderness? The children of Israel. Come on. Come on up.
With the angel.
With the what? With the who?
With the angel.
With the angel. The angel was Yahushua. He was in the angel-like form in the Old Testament. Come on.
Which spake to him in Mount Sinai.
So it wasn't the Most High speaking to Moses. Okay, that's good. So it wasn't the Most High that was actually speaking mouth to mouth to Moses. It was the angel who was a representative of the Most High who spoke to Moses. Because everybody knows when you read the scriptures, the Most High never spoke to no one face to face, so they would burn up. They would just die. It's just too powerful. So he had to use a representative, which was the angel, which spoke in the likeness of him. We all know when you work for a company and your company sends you out to another place and you have the shirt on, the logo on, and people see you come into another company, they're going to say, well, AT&T just showed up. Okay? They're not going to say your name. They're not going to remember your name. AT&T is the representative. All right? So it's the same thing with the Most High. He sent this angel, he sent this servant, Hamashiach Yahushai, to speak to Moses. Okay? But people read right over that. Read on.
This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel, which spake to him in Mount Sinai. And our fathers.
Right, it says our fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
To receive the lively oracles to give unto us.
Right, so the lively oracles is the living Bible. Okay? It's the book of life. That's why he calls it lively oracles. And you can still call it lively oracles. Okay? So we should be coming together to learn his word first. All right? Let's look at Adam. And let's check out what Adam did. Let's go to Genesis 2 and 15. And read the 18 out.
Genesis 2, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord, Yahweh, took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Okay, so the critical
And
thing,
the Lord, Yahweh,
hold on, Most High, thy power, Yahweh, took the man. So he took him and put him where? In the Garden of Eden. And when he put him in the garden, what did it say do? It said that he dressed it and he kept it. So he was working in the garden. Okay? So he just wasn't sitting there eating grapes and apples, laying on his back, doing nothing all day. He was working. He dressed it. In order to dress it, that's to take care of it, to decorate it. To keep it, it means you have to maintain it. So this is what he did. Why did he have to maintain it? Who was in the garden? Other animals. You had animals running through there. Bulls and lions and everything. That was Adam's job. Okay? Go ahead, Ak.
And the Lord Yahweh commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayst freely eat.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
You go?
Come on.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eat thereof, thou shalt surely die.
Right. So in that day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. So Adam did die within 1 day's time. And we've been over that already before. Read verse 18.
And the Lord Yahweh said it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a help me.
No, it says I will. No, it says I will make him a slave. What does it say?
I will make him a helpmate for him.
Right. So it didn't say he would make a slave. It said he would make what? A helpmate for him. Right. So these two shared the duties. All right. So this is what he did. He made a helpmate. So he made a woman, not another man, for the two to help one another. He made a woman. Plants and animals. When he made the herbs of the ground and he made the cattle of the earth, it wasn't just all male cattle or all male fishes or all male animals. It was male and female. So Adam too was made to multiply into men and women. All right. And Adam was a symbol of man back then. When you said Adam, you meant all man, all mankind. All right. So, he did not make them for nothing. Basically, the Most High made men and women as a recipe to multiply. And for them to multiply what? The image of the Most High in spirit, to teach the children too the commandments. That way we will have one unit and we'll all be born and raised in the likeness of the Most High. But nowadays what you have is you have a man and a woman. One may be in the likeness, the other one may not. So when that child come out, that child is confused. Or both of them may not be following the spirit of the Most High and the child come out in sin. All children are born in sin until they are taught by the parents the righteousness of the Most High, which is keeping the law, statutes, commandments. When they are not taught that, they're walking in sin their whole life without being taught. So you have generations upon generations upon generations who have not been taught the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? So that's a heavy thing to think about. All right? And that's based on different doctrines and different gods that played a major part in persuading Israel to be destroyed. Okay? So the love should not be restrained of either side. Once you're espoused or engaged or married. Okay? You should have one open mind to prevent negative vibes in your prostate or your cervix. All that plays a part on your prostate and your cervix, believe it or not. It's all spiritual as well as physical. So people die from prostate cancer. People die from cervical cancer. What you have is negative and positive energy. All right? That's why when someone rapes a woman, there's nothing positive about that. And it has a serious repercussion in the body, the mind, and the spirit of both people, which can speed up illness sometimes. And the illness could be spiritual illness, it could be mental illness, it could be physical illness. Okay? So let's go back to Adam. And that's a whole nother class. So Adam and Eve were the first church. Okay? Then his sons and daughters down to Noah's family. So when we get to Abraham and Sarai, they too were alone as a church. But who did the Most High send to fellowship with them? Anybody tell me who fellowshiped with Abraham and Sarai as a believer? Let's see if y'all been reading your Bible. Can y'all think of one particular person? Can you think of one?
Would that be his nephew Lot?
Lot was a
nephew Lot.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I had that in mind. That's a good one, brother. That's a good one. I'm thinking outside the circle of that family. Someone from afar that came to visit Abraham. And actually, to give you another hint, Yahushua follows the priestly order of this man. All right? If you guys don't know.
Would that be Melchizedek?
There you go, brother. Melchizedek. All right? So Melchizedek was also a believer in the Most High Yahweh. All right? So let's go to Genesis chapter 14, verse 18. Genesis 14 and 18. So the Most High always had more than one person who believed in him. Okay? And they were always distances apart from one another. There was never, it was, it was always a blessing when we could have a lot or clusters of us. But a lot of times the Most High put us on different sides of the earth. Why? To spread His word. Okay? Let's go to Genesis 14 and 18. Read that out.
Genesis 14, verse 18. And Melchizedek, king of Salem,
King of Salem.
brought forth bread and wine.
Right. So when you look at Salem, Salem is another word for peace. So when we say Salem, you look at the Arabic tongue, they don't say shalom like we say. They say salam, right? Salem is another word for peace. This is the same thing as saying shalom, all right? So he was from the city of peace, Melchizedek. Read that from the top again, up. And that's where you get Jerusalem from.
And Melchizedek, Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine.
Okay.
And he was the priest of the Most High, Yahweh.
Right, so it's telling you right there, he was a priest of the Most High Yahweh, which was in the book of Genesis. But he just came out of nowhere. Okay, come on.
And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham with the Most High Yahweh power,
Come on.
possessor of the heavens and earth.
Right.
And blessed be the Most High Yahweh, which has delivered thy enemies into their hand, and he gave him tithes and all.
Right, so that's when tithes got brought into the heavenly priesthood. Okay, so right now we're not really dealing with tithes in money form. Back then they were given tithes it was in cattle, it was in frankincense and myrrh and gold and silver. It was different. It wasn't like our earthly money that we use today. Really, it was to keep the priests going, so they didn't have to go out and work. Okay, but now today it's a whole different thing. It's a racket now. So when you look at Melchizedek, it doesn't speak a whole lot about who he is. You see in this particular chapter is only speaking about 3 verses dealing with Melchizedek. And I think it goes, when you go to Hebrews, the book of Hebrews chapter 7, it speaks on him just a little bit. But this is the order of Hamashiach, what he was going to take. The priestly order of a king and a high priest. He's the only one that's going to be looked at as a king and a high priest. No one else could be a king and a high priest. Okay? You're either one or the other if you get nominated by Yahweh Shai. Okay, just like the apostles, Christ nominated those apostles. Nobody else nominated them. James, his brother, was not an apostle; he was a servant. Okay, so let's go back. Just to mention, there was always brothers in other places following the Most High in sincerity. When you look at Elijah, the prophet, he boasted saying, I'm the only servant, and the Most High shamed him, telling him, he shamed Elijah saying, look, you're not the only one. He says, I have reserved 7-fold. Let's go to 1 Kings 19 and 18 just to show you. 1 Kings 19 and 18. So when brothers say, well, we the only ones in the truth, that's not the truth. Most High has always raised up more than one. It's kind of like similar with ideas. You know how some people come up with an idea, and they be like, I'm the first person to come up with this idea. Why do you think we have the patent laws? We have the patent laws so nobody can infringe on it, saying that they came up with it first. All right? Because those ideas pop up in a lot of people's minds. It's just who's going to be the first one to patent it. So the Most High may bless you with the idea, but he might bless somebody in 5,000 miles away from you with the same idea. Okay? And I'm sure you brothers and sisters see it all the time. You come up with an idea 10 years later, somebody else got it, and they making money off of it because you didn't follow up on what you were going to do. So it's the same thing in the truth with people. The Most High puts his spirit on those who he chooses. Okay? Read 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 18 now.
18 and 19?
19 and 18. Chapter 19, verse 18.
chapter 19, verse 18.
Kind. It's just one verse.
Chapter 19, verse 18. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every month which have not kissed me.
Right. So this
Every
is
mouth that not kissed me.
right. So the Most High is telling you. I thought it was sevenfold, but he said 7,000. But here Elijah crying to the Most High, saying, "I'm the only one." Most High said, "Look, I got 7,000 in Israel that you don't even know about, and they not bowing down to other guys, and they not kissing other guys." Okay. So this is how the Most High deals with mankind, because man, like I spoke in when we first opened up, pride can be abominable, and so we have to be careful of our pride in the Most High, because when we use ourselves as the only vessel, there's other brothers and sisters who believe the same way. Okay, so let me see. So the Most High has always had a remnant who cleave to Him. So Israel is the church, and the remnant will trust in our power and change for Him. So when we come together, our primary function is to get stronger and to expel sin by understanding His laws and doing them. Strengthen yourselves and put off the weak nature so we can get stronger in the word and actions of the Most High. Our bodies are weak, but our spirits are strong, right? I don't know if you brothers and sisters ever heard of the exhibition called The Bodies. But I just went to
여기요?
this weekend and saw how the bodies it's like a scientific exhibition where they take a real human body, they take the skin off, and they show you how the body works. These are people who donated their bodies. And man, you talk about how the Most High made us. It's unbelievable. Man, and how fragile we are. Most High is great. I can only try to explain to you what I saw, but it'd be too much. But just looking at the intricacy, all the little things that cause us to listen, to hear, to see, to understand, the way our minds work, the way they look, the nerves, the neurons, the muscles, the bones, everything that's intertwined. The Most High made us to be we look like sophisticated aliens, And then when you look at the women, they showed a woman whose stomach had a baby still in it. It was crazy. She must have died early or something. But the baby was still intact in the woman. And they showed how the baby was forming. I think it was like 18 weeks or something like that. And it was just crazy to see it. But looking at the lips of these artifacts, because you couldn't really tell what it was based on the skin, because they took all the skin off of it. So you could just see the muscles and the cartilage. But when you look at the lips look like us, look like Jacob. Okay, you look at the head and the nose, it look like Jacob. A lot of it, they said they put lips on it, but that had to be Jacob. And when you think about the way our bodies are made and the way that they're built, with the muscles and the hips and, the melanin in our bodies, why wouldn't they use Jacob? You know what I'm saying? You want the full robust of a human figure to show people what the body really does. And so it was just crazy because what they would show organs in its full capacity. They had everything broken down, real organs. They had the heart, and then they showed the heart with heart cancer. They had a liver, then they showed a liver with liver cancer. Seeing it up close with your own eyes is different from watching it on YouTube or Google. And when you saw all the ones that had livers with defects of cancer or some sort of disease, a thromba of the larynx, it was bigger, uglier, more defective, blacker, and You look at the normal one, and it was just you could just tell it was healthy, the normal organs. So when we live our lives not based under the Most High's commandments, all these destructive vices happen to us. Our bodies get attacked by the reverse of our immune system, the destroying of chemicals in our body. It just destroys us. It totally destroys us. You know. So that's why I said we have to strengthen ourselves by getting into the understanding of who we are. So, but our bodies are weak and our spirits are strong. That's going to be the judging factor that's going to save our lives in belief of the Most High in the Son. So don't you know, if we could put away old habits, then we can overcome everything that we're struggling with. You look at the triggers that trigger our bodies to degrade itself. You got sugars, alcohol, sodas, GMOs, salty foods, bad meats, drugs, poison information, poor medicines, even garbage vitamins. All this stuff is bad for us, you know. So be leery of medicines when you're healthy. And some of you are at the doctor's mercy, you know. So you may have to take their medicines in order to prolong your life. But those of you who are healthy and go to the doctors for checkups, use wisdom. You know, if they are pushing medicines on you, you don't have to take those medicines if it reacts to your body a certain way. Or if you want to get checkups and just use a herbal way of taking care of yourself, like herbal alternatives to change your eating habits and pray, that might be more suitable for you. But if it's something of dire need, then yes, then you may need to take that or have the surgery. Okay? This is just basic understanding, and the scriptures also speak on that. When you go into Sirach chapter 38, it tells you if you put your life in the hands of the physician, pray that he's a believing. Let me find it real quick. Get that for me, Sirach 38.
39.
Okay. Read that.
Sirach 38, verse 9. My son, in thy sickness, be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord, Yahweh, and he will make thee whole.
Right. So start at the first verse. This is for all you brothers and sisters who have a dire need. We got sisters that's in the hospital right now who have had strokes. Now, you're not just going to get up and walk out of there, all right, until you completely healed. And, you know, you got to go through therapy and different things like that. But this is what the Most High say when you get to that point. Because when you're in the truth from birth, or even when you come into it at a young age, you have the possibility of changing your life before your body starts destroying itself, you know, to alleviate stress, to alleviate bad habits. But when you've been living on this earth for a long time, you come to the truth at a later age, or you've been polluting your body a long time, and you try to make that change. Sometimes it don't take effect right away, or sometimes it won't heal your whole body. Like if you've been smoking forever, you know, your lungs are pretty much already dark. It ain't gonna change after you done change. You might slow it down, but for the most part, it's already, what's done is done. Read the first verse, chapter 38 out.
Sirach, verse 38, verse 1. If there is honor and position with honor, do unto him for the use which you may have of him.
Right. Come on.
For the Lord Yahweh has created him.
Right. So the Most High has created the physician for that purpose. So the Most High is telling you right there, honor a physician with the honor due unto him. If he's there to aid you or to help you, then you have to put your life in his hands. Come on out.
For the Most High come of feeling, and he will receive honor of the king.
Right. So the Most High come of healing. Everything is through the Most High. Okay? If a person comes into your life to help you get a job or whatever, the Most High sent that person. Okay? If a doctor comes into your life to help you get over an illness, the Most High possibly sent that person. But you still got to use wisdom and understanding before you just jump all the way in. Be a little leery at all costs. Remember, Satan can come like an angel. So you have to always be careful. Okay? Read verse 3 and 4.
The skill of a physician shall lift up his head, and in sight of a great men, he shall be in admiration.
Right, in sight of great men, it shall be in admiration.
The
Come on.
Lord,
Go ahead.
the Lord Yahweh has created medicine out of the earth,
Uh-huh.
and he that is wise will not for him.
Right, so you got medicines that were created in the earth. You got tea tree oil, you got eucalyptus oil, you got all types of oils, you got herbs, cayenne pepper, you got herbs in the earth that'll heal you. Some people know exactly what to get to help treat your ailment. You got herbalists out there who knows how to treat your ailment. All right. So the Most High is telling you.
Smoke it.
Say that again,
And not to smoke.
and not to smoke it, right? So I mean, there's no herbs that we smoke, but our people are stuck on that fact that you can smoke herbs and get healed. The Most High didn't create herbs for that point. Anything you burn and put up to your brain burns brain cells. All right, it destroys you. You may be thinking clear for the moment, but over a period of time, it will destroy you. It will give you some form of cancer. Okay, anything you put into your body by inhaling, eventually can have its effects on you. All right. Now we got people who have asthma, and they take inhalers to help their bronchus free up a little bit. Even that over a period of time kill you. But we're not telling you not to do that. That's medicated prescription. Now they're trying to medicate marijuana as a prescription, and we all know that marijuana brings prostate cancer, also brain damage, okay, over a period of time. So, you can smoke that stuff if you want to, but we telling you now, don't put it up to your nose, all right, or smoke it. There might be some purposes for it if you ingest it as a tea of some sort, but smoking it, that's a whole nother subject, okay? And then all that stuff is chemically laced now anyways. So if I was you, I wouldn't do it. Let me see. What I want to do is, I just want brothers and sisters just to know that, understand that our bodies are not built on their studies or their research. Give me Jeremiah 30 verse 12. Jeremiah 30 and 12. All the studies that have been done have not been done based on our research. Now they use us to do studies, scientific studies, but the medicines that are out are not based on us. Okay? It's based on the help Edomites first and foremost, and they used black women as white males who were in the military who got struck down or got some disease to assist them. But there's a key element in our body that I want to go over, the reason why I'm bringing up this study method and the research method. Jeremiah 30 and 12. Read that.
Jeremiah 30, verse 12.
Uh-huh. Can you read up a little bit? Can you read up a little bit?
For that says the Lord, Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable.
Thy bruise is incurable. Go ahead.
There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicine.
Say that again. Thou hast what?
Thou hast no healing medicine.
You guys hear that? It says, you have no healing medicines. Wow. Now what does that mean? There was a time, and that time was probably in the last 100 years, where we stopped using what our parents or the generations before used to use to heal themselves. Right now, our people really don't know. I mean, until now we have the information age that's taking place. And based on the information coming forward, we're able to heal ourselves. There's more information coming forward. Before, you had to hear from somebody's mouth, and it was the spread of the word in order for you to get it. Or it was in a book that nobody else had. So you had to go to certain people. But now the information age, people are going to and fro to get this information, and they heal themselves, which is a blessing, you know. Go ahead, out. Verse 14.
All thy lovers have forgotten thee.
Mm-hmm.
They speak thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of the enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thy iniquities, because thy sins were increased.
Right, so all these different diseases that you see have came out because of Israel's sin. Okay, remember in Deuteronomy 28, 60, 61 or 64, it said that there were diseases and plagues that you have not even heard of based on our sin. Okay, what's the Zika virus? Where'd that come from? All right, you got all these different viruses coming up. You got the all these different flu viruses coming up. It's because of our sin. Our sin generates it, you know. And then for Esau to work on it and to make it more of a Frankenstein disease, that's all part of the prophecies. We have to overcome in order for all other nations to get right. Okay, so we have a big task, a big job to do. Go to Hosea 5 and 13.
Hosea 5 and 13.
Uh-huh.
Hosea 5 and 13.
Hosea 5 and 13.
Ephraim saw his sickness. Out of 5 and 13 or 15?
No, you're right. Go ahead.
Okay. When Ephraim saw his sickness and Judah saw his wound, then went Ephraim to the hearing and sent to the king Joab. Yet did he not heal you,
Right.
nor heal you of your wound?
Right, so right here is telling you, hey, Ephraim is the northern kingdom. He said, when Ephraim got sick and Judah saw his wound, he said, could we go to the Assyrian king to be healed? The Assyrian king, okay, so a lot of our people go to the hospital. The biggest hospital out there right now is probably Kaiser Hospital. It's all over the place. Do you know Kaiser means a king that was in Europe? Okay, just to show you that the Most High likens Esau's world as the Assyrian world. Okay, but the Edomite world is the same. When the Most High said to Ephraim and Judah, he says, yet could he not cure you or heal you or cure you of your wound. What is your wound today? Is it really a cough? Is it really a flu? Your wound today is your spirit. Nowhere, wherever you go, you cannot be healed. You have yet to be healed. Your spirit is wounded. Okay? The Most High said the whole head is sick of Israel. The whole head. From the head down to the soreness of his foot, Israel is sick. That's why Christ said, go out and heal the sick. You know? Our people are sick spiritually. They don't know right from wrong. And so that's why I said the other gods you have followed, but they cannot heal you. This is what we're working on. This is what we're trying to do, is save our nation. This is, we have a chemical in us that, like I said before, there's hasn't been too many research or studies done outwardly towards the public where we know what's going on. But the chemical called melanin acts as a super agent or antibodies in our system.
Now this technique is becoming very popular day by day because the results are really very good in stable vitiligo. In a good candidate, we can get up to 90% of good results with this melanocyte transplantation. Let's see how do we do this procedure.
You can see we have taken this area. This is the donor area from the thigh. First we take the split thickness graft from this donor area. The graft has to be very thin, ultra thin. Once the graft is taken, we come to the recipient area and we start dermabraiding that recipient area. The graft which is taken from the donor area is soaked in trypsin solution. It is incubated at 37 degree for 1 hour. During this time of incubation, we can do the dermabrasion as we just described before. The melanin pearl formed. It is applied to the dermabraided recipient area. The dressing is done with collagen sheet and the patient is advised not to move for next 5 days.
So we have done this melanocyte transplantation. Now it's very important for next 5 days after this.
Okay, this is what they don't tell you. By the time we end up going to the hospitals, that means all the foods that we have been eating, candy, Burger King, Taco Bell, all that food has destroyed our immune system so much where our melanin can't even activate. Then we're going to the hospital to get help. By that time, our immune system is already broke down. All right? Technically speaking, we should be able to heal ourselves based on keeping God's laws, His dietary laws, and eating right, and getting enough sunlight, and taking care of ourselves. Well, we shouldn't even have to go to the doctor. Okay? But we haven't been doing that. Our bodies lack vitamin D and vitamin K and magnesium. These help aid in the combative syndrome in our bodies. You know, it strengthens us. But keeping the dietary laws completely to the best of our ability rejuvenates us. It rejuvenates the melanin in your body to be super agents, like I said. You know, as well as be fair with one another and be at peace with all men. You know, we have to learn how to do that. A lot of Israelites don't know how to be at peace with all men. Give me Matthew 7 and 12 out. Matthew 7 and 12. We're going to speak about 25 more minutes. Matthew 7 and 12.
Matthew 7, verses 12.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do even so to them.
Right, so everything men do
For
to
this
us.
is the law and the prophets.
Right, so everything that men do to us, that's good, we should treat them the same way. If people are good to us, and there's no such person as good, we all know that, according to the scriptures. But all those who treat you fair, you should treat them fairly as well. All right? This is the law of the prophets, as is written here. For this is the law and the prophets. Okay? So when we had our kingdom set up, we treated all men fairly. Okay? Even though the nations knew who was reigning on the earth, we still treated people fairly. Okay? So we have to get that understanding. All right, so this is something that we have to teach ourselves. A lot of us have never understood that. Another thing, which a lot of our people are not in knowledge about, is concerning our bodies, is the elements. You look at the elements of the earth. Look at the elements that we breathe: oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and argon. All right, the nitrogen is about 78%. The oxygen level is about 21%. The argon is about 9%. The carbon dioxide, about 3%. The plants get more carbon dioxide than we get. Okay? So, the thing, when you look at how the earth was created in the beginning, there was more water on the earth. Now, we need water for everything. There was more water then, and I say more because there was more water in the atmosphere versus what we have now. This is why they were able to breathe or live longer, and this is why they were able to keep from getting sick. There was more water on it. Look at fishes. Fishes don't get sick, right? If they get sick is by the hands of men. But for the most part, water is one of the biggest agents in our bodies. It should be more than 50% of our body. But there's other things that we have that should be helping us, like alloys, alloy metals, gold, lapis. That's where you get the color blue from, lapis. Rubies, emeralds, diamonds, magnets. Magnets help move blood in your body. Okay, if you go to a herbalist, herbalists will use magnets. If you're having blood clots, they'll put magnets on your arms, your legs, to help that blood flow move throughout your body. In the beginning, we knew this. In these days, we don't know it anymore. You know, when you wear gold, it does the same thing. It helps move the blood in your body. You know, that's why our forefathers wore a lot of gold. They wore it on their clothes, they wore it in their hair. Back then, it was not a big thing. It was not a big issue like it is now. You get robbed today wearing it. Back then, our people didn't do that. Or there's times when we were in captivity where we did, but for the most part, when we ruled the kingdom, we wore gold like it was nothing. Okay. When you look at the prices of these metals and ask why are these metals so expensive, it should cause you to think a little bit, because when you look at metals like rhodium, the silver is basically a silver. It's the rarest and most valuable alloy metal in the world. 1 ounce is like $1 million for 1 ounce of rhodium. There's another alloy metal called hafnium. We were looking up yesterday. Basically, hafnium I think is more than rhodium. All right, but rhodium is something that cleans the exhaust. Okay, when you look at cars, they use rhodium on the motors of the cars. It cleans exhaust. Now just think if we had it, what we use for it, if we knew how to use it. Okay, if we knew how to use gold and we got the right gold, because a lot of y'all wearing gold and stuff like that, it ain't the real gold. It's just plated gold. All right, but you know, we have to understand why the Most High put all these elements down and how this stuff activates your melanin to perform wonders on your organs, your blood, your nerves, your neurons. All this stuff helps us. Give me Genesis chapter 2, verse 11. Genesis 2, verse 11. And a lot of this stuff on Google, yeah, Genesis 2 and 11. A lot of this stuff on Google is not going to tell you everything. People think Google is everything. They think Google's God, you know, infinity. But Google is set up to only tell you what you need to know. They're not going to tell you all the gifts of life. They're not going to put it on the internet. There's books that I have, you could Google it and you won't find nothing on Google because these books are banned from the United States. All right? Read that, Ak. Genesis 2 and 11.
Genesis 2, verse 11. The name of the first is God.
Yeah, the Python.
Which compares Python. Right? The name of the first is Python. That is which compares the whole land of Havilah.
Right, that's Ethiopia, Havilah, or Babylon. You know, go ahead.
But where there is gold.
Where there's gold. So gold was in that part of the
The
world.
gold.
Come on.
The gold of that land is good.
Right, so the Most High telling you the gold of that land is good. Come on.
There is
Bdellium.
and onyx stone.
Right, so in that same land, you have the bdellium and the onyx stone. Here's more precious things that our people have no idea what they do for you. All right, they like the look of it, but they don't know. Bdellium, our people don't even know what bdellium is. That's not even the Negro's repertoire. You say bdellium to a Negro, he just look at you. But bdellium is a fragrance. It's a gum resin that's produced from trees to form myrrh. Okay, you heard of frankincense and myrrh? Myrrh is a great smelling resin. Okay, when you look at Yahushua when he was born, the wise men brought him frankincense, they brought him myrrh, they brought him gold and spices. The myrrh is an ointment. It can be used for many different things of the body, ailments, odors. You know, they also use myrrh when people are dead in the Middle Eastern countries. You know, you read through the Bible, they always use myrrh. Okay, so bdellium is a resin for myrrh. Now, when you look at the onyx stone, The onyx stone has benefits to help keep your mind clear and to assist you in not having negative thinking. Okay? Gold, it helps rejuvenate your body, your mind. So just imagine things we would be able to do if we were keeping the laws of the Most High and wearing these things. Just think how it triggers. This is what we don't think about. But at this particular moment, this stuff is not going to help us or help our people because their mind is not in the right place. Give me 1 Corinthians 3:19. 3:9 actually. 1 Corinthians 3:9.
First Corinthians 3,
Verse 9.
verse 9. For we are laborers together with the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Ye are God's husbandry. Ye are God's building.
Right, we're his building. Come on.
According to the grace of the Most High, which is given unto me as a wise master builder. I have laid the foundation, and another builder therein. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon.
Right, let every man take heed how he
For
built
other
it.
foundations,
Come on.
for other foundations can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahushua.
Right, so we're going to lay the foundation in the name of Hamashiach Yahushai. In order to be master builders, remember, he's the cornerstone. We're just stones and bricks. In order to put together this building, it's a spiritual house. We all got to come together to make that spiritual house. Yahushai he's the basis of that house. He's the strength of that corner of that building. All right? Keep going out. Verse 12.
Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stone, wood, hay, and stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest. For the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is.
Right, so the Most High is telling you, look.
If any man work,
Go ahead, read.
so if any man's work abide which he has built therein upon, he shall receive a reward.
Right, you can stop right there. So it's telling you right here, these things are how we're going to build the house of the Most High. First and foremost, we're going to have to follow the ways of Hamashiach Yahushai. We have to follow him. Second, we have to keep his laws. Third, if you build with stones, if you build with gold, silver, even though these things aid us, it's not going to help us if our spirits are not right. Okay? Once we get the understanding and we keep the gold, silver, and stuff, then we can build. But if we build the wrong way, it will be burnt up. All our works be burned up, because everything will be formed as idols. So everlasting life is the point that we're trying to reach. The everlasting life. We're trying to live as long as Adam did. Remember, Adam lived he actually only lived 1 day, less than a day. We're trying to live forever. Okay? Remember, they messed up. They were supposed to live forever too, but they messed up. All right? Give me Proverbs 2 and 4. All right?
Proverbs 2 and 4. And I wanted to say something to you. So, even by us coming together, we're building the right hand.
Right.
You know what I mean? Us being the conference call. You know what I mean? And even things like, you know, as far as trying to get a church for other brothers and sisters to wake up so we can have a place of foundation so we can, you know, go over the Most High's work or what we're doing. So that's a part of building.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and that's something, you know, me and Shemaiah and the other brothers, you know, that we're trying to do. So, but it goes from what we were just reading, but it goes even deeper than that, or just coming together. That's what we build. You know what I mean? You know, some look at some other Israelite camps that might be bigger than others. You know what I mean? They might have 500 people, whether it might be down to another camp, might just have 10 people in their camp. You know, but that's all a part of building, and that's what we're doing. At the same time, we're all building trying to get to the Most High. You know?
Right.
So, but I just want to say that out. So.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, even Proverbs 2 and 4, and I wanted to say too, for those of you who are scholars out there, in the book of Corinthians, when Paul was talking about that, there was actually cats in the city of Corinth who was burning gold. They was trying to sacrifice gold. You know, you can't burn gold. Gold is a substance that fire can't. I mean, that could withstand fire, even though you might melt it. But when you start putting that fire to it, it's going to form right back into a gold solid. Okay? So the Most High is likening this gold to us. We have to stand, you know, from the wiles of Satan and stand strong as gold and silver. You know? Go ahead, Ak.
Proverbs 2 and 4.
Uh-huh. That's it.
If you seek her as silver, the searches for her as for hidden treasure. Then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord, Yahweh, and find the knowledge of the Most High Yahweh. For the Lord Yahweh give wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding.
Go ahead.
He lay down wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to him that walks uprightly.
That's good, Ak. So basically, we got to follow the Most High. That's it, Ak. So we got to search for his wisdom. Like Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 says, seek after him, and he will give it to you. Whatever you ask in his name for the benefit of Israel and your spirit and your body, the Most High is going to bless you with it. If you're seeking for help for your loved one who's in pain or in anguish, the Most High will give it to you. You got to trust on him. The Most High does all things. Okay? So when you get, give me Psalms 105, verse 37. So we got to be like our brothers and our fathers of the past with this law. You know? Psalms 105, verse 37.
Psalms 105, verse 37. He brought them forth also with silver and gold.
Mm-hmm.
And there was not one feeble person among their tribes.
Right, there was not one weak person amongst the tribes. And what did he give us when we left Egypt? Silver and gold. But we had silver and gold when we was there. Our bodies was in the right place when we was in Egypt, even though some of us was going off. But look at the strength of our people when they was in Egypt. Did we not do things that they can't figure out to this day? We was moving huge stones when we were slaves in Egypt and placing them to build those pyramids for the Egyptians. Okay? When you look at Yahushua, he was walking on water with the help of Yahweh. Okay? Samson had the strength of more than 10 men with the help of Yahweh. Okay? We can have the same strength, powers, spiritual guidance of the Most High Yahweh and Yahushua based on us keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. So I'm not telling you to go and buy some little cheap gold chain or some little cheap silver chain, put it on your body, think you got superhuman strength and try to pick up something more than 500 pounds and break your back. You know, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you first, get these laws, statutes, and commandments in you and try to help build Israel. That's what I'm trying to say, because everything here that we see is watered down, all right? All the jewelry that you buy, everything is watered down. Ain't nothing pure, all right? The pure stuff Esau got somewhere in a vault or in his expensive castles, but there's nothing in Walmart or Macy's or even some of these jewelry stores that broadcast on these commercials. That stuff ain't real, okay? It's at its lowest form.
I want to say something too.
Go ahead,
I want to say, coming in this truth, like I said, when you start dealing with a lot of herbs and all that stuff, man, that's going to another level as far as the dimension. So, as far as spirits and stuff like that.
Right.
Even when you talk to the disciples, they even know the dimensions of the things that happen beyond. You remember when the crazy man had the demon on him?
Right.
The disciples, they couldn't even understand that.
They couldn't even pull the spirit out.
Like, what? I wish I knew.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is that you can't stand them to deal with that on that side of the world and that dimension. So what the brother was saying, you have to just deal with the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High. And when you deal with those other sides of the dimension, it's a whole different world. And it's like, we're not even ready for that dimension yet.
Right. That's why he said he's going to have to show us.
You gotta remember, he's just waking up out of sleep. Right?
Yeah,
He's just waking up out of sleep of who we are.
Right, we're
We ain't
babies
ready
in
for
this.
that side of the dimension yet, so.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, well, as your brother said.
Brothers and sisters that come into the truth, right, when they come into the truth, and they start talking some stuff off the wall, I went to this dimension, and, I start feeling these herbs and all this stuff, man.
Right.
That's a whole nother level.
Whole nother level.
You know what I mean? And like I said, you get to that level, I don't even know what to tell you, brothers and sisters, once you get to that level. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, all we can say to these brothers and sisters is just ask and pray to the Most High, man. Because once you get beyond that, man, that's another level.
Right.
I
mean, and like you said,
I just wanted to say that.
No, it's good you mentioned that because, like you said, we're in baby stages right now. Even though some of us say, "Oh, I've been in this truth for 30 years," or "I've been in this truth for 40," we still babies in this. A generation, like I was talking earlier, a generation is only 70 years or a little than 100 years. That's one generation. What was a generation during Adam's time? What was a generation? We got to think about it. Go to Genesis, chapter 2, verse 4. Genesis 2 and 4.
Genesis what?
2 and 4. Read that.
Genesis 2, verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth.
Stop. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth. So I thought the earth was made in 6 days. How could it be generations? You know what a generation was for Adam? It was 1,000 years. It was actually longer than that prior to him sinning, because this happened before Adam sinned. So a generation could have been way longer than 1,000 years. Remember, 1,000 years was a day. Okay? 1,000 years was just a day. So that was considered a generation back then. All right? So all of the generations, 70 years, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. Go to Psalms 145, verse 4. Read that. Psalms 145, verse 4.
145.
Yeah.
Psalms 145, verse 4. One generation shall praise thy works to another and shall declare thy mighty acts.
Right, so one generation shall declare the works to another generation, right? So these generations, they come and they go. How are we going to keep the word of mouth? How are we going to keep this understanding going? By teaching the next generation, right? And they're going to teach the next generation. And they're going to teach the next, just like our forefathers did. So we're not going to get everything in one generation. The more we spread this word to the next generation, teaching our children, the more information they're going to get to understand the Most High's word. We're not going to understand everything in one generation. Okay? So it's impossible. All right? When you go back to the scriptures, give me Hosea 3 and 4. And we're about to close out in a minute. Hosea 3 and 4. And this is something that the Edomites do. They set up these cities and states based on generations. You know, they know what our forefathers taught.
Hosea 3, verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without a ephod,
Right. So.
and without a teraphim.
Uh huh. So he's telling you right here. Look, we're not gonna have everything. He said we're gonna live many days without these things. Read verse 5, huh?
Afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord, Yahweh, their power, and David, their king, and shall fear the Lord, Yahweh, and his goodness in the latter days.
In the latter days. So we're gonna get the truth. We're gonna get the understanding of what we need to learn during this generation.
Maria has left the conference.
But the next generation, those who are diligent, are going to get more. And the one after that are going to get more. Okay, so all these things are still in the earth. You know, the teraphim, the gold, the silver, all the stuff that we once had that was taken away from us is still here. But we don't have access to them due to our disobedience. Read Hosea 4:1 out. Hosea 4.
Hosea 4:1. Hear the word of the Lord, you children of Israel. For the Lord has controversy with the inhabitants of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of the Most High in the land.
Right, so we're not going to have anything until we come back to the understanding of what we have. So all the other nations, they may possess our goods, they may possess our gold, they may possess our silver, but they don't know how to use it. It don't do them any good other than being merchandise for them. All right? But once we get it, we're going to show them how to use it properly. Right? We'll know how to use that stuff. Remember, we use this stuff for our high priest ephod. You know, 12 of the symbols represented the 12 tribes of Israel. The sardis, the topaz, the carbuncle, the sapphire, the emerald, the diamond, the ligure, the agate, the amethyst, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper. We used all those different emeralds, you know, for power. The Most High showed us how to use these things. We don't know how to use it anymore. And the brothers wearing these epods today, those epods are not the real epods. Those are just imitations. Those are not even real stones. Those are just rocks spray painted the color of the different stones. But only the high priest is supposed to wear that. And actually, you know, and what it is a resemblance of the Most High's throne. That's what it is. Even though we say it's a resemblance of Israel, no, it's really a resemblance of the Most High's throne. Give me Revelation 4 and 3, and we'll come right back to this.
Verse 3.
Yeah.
And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper.
Start at the verse above. Verse 2. Yeah.
Revelation 4, verse 2. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a certain stone.
Right. So the jasper represents Benjamin, and the sardine represents Reuben. But the Most High has these same colors on his body. Go ahead, Op.
There was a rainbow around about the throne, in the sight like unto an emerald.
Right, so the emerald represents Levi. Come on.
And around about the throne were 24 feet. And upon the seat I saw 24 elders sitting clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crown of gold.
Right, so the Most High is showing you that ephod that we had was a representation of him. But when the 12 tribes of Israel broke the Most High's commandments, we didn't have any kind of reason to wear it, because remember the Most High says, you are not my sons. You guys don't follow my ways. Why should you even have what I have on my throne? You guys are not a good representation of me. So the Most High did away with those stones. He put them far away from us. All our jewelry, all our treasures, he removed those from us and gave all that stuff to the nations. That's why it's not important right now. What's important? The people coming back together, learning his laws, statutes, commandments, not in Christianity, but in the laws, statutes, commandments of the Bible. Learning the consciousness of the Spirit through the Bible. Okay? So we have to understand why the Most High put this stuff in here. Go back to Hosea, verse 4, and go to verse 2. And read.
Hosea 4, verse 2.
Right.
By slaying and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood.
Right. Come on.
Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of the heaven. Ye that fishes of the sea also shall be taken away.
Right. So all of these things,
That
that's good. So all these things are happening to us as of right now. Everything's been switched around, flipped upside down. All the foundations of the earth are out of course right now until the children of Israel come back together. So all these stones are chiefly of interest concerning the high priest, which resembles the throne of the Most High. I'm going to bring out 3 more verses and we'll close out. Give me Psalms 119, verse 72. Psalms 119, verse 72.
Psalm 119, verse 72. The law of thy mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver.
Look at that. So the Most High is telling us right there. What's better than gold and silver? The laws of your mouth of the Most High. He says better than thousands of pieces of gold and silver. That's heavy. Go to Proverbs 8 and 10. That's heavy right there. That says a lot about gold and silver, how the Most High think about it. He's so mad at us. He said, look, all y'all got to do is keep the oracles of life. And I'll give you whatever you want, just like he did Solomon. He said, if you just search for my ways, I give you whatever you want. Just do what I tell you to do. And we're not doing it. We want all the other things, but we don't want to do what he tells us to do. Proverbs 8 and 10.
Proverbs 8, verse 10. Receiving my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold.
Right, so he says, receive my instruction and not silver. Look at that. And knowledge rather than choice gold. So the nations of the heathens are going to pay top dollar for that gold, top dollar for that silver. They're even eating gold. Y'all know that? The other nations are even eating gold. They're slicing it so thin and putting it on their meats. They're ingesting gold, which has no purpose for them. It doesn't do anything for them. It does everything for us. But Most High never told us to eat it. That's not in the dietary law. Show me that the dietary law. We're supposed to eat gold. It ain't there. You know? So the Most High wants us to get his laws, statutes, and commandments first and foremost. Give me Jeremiah chapter 30, Ak. I don't know what kind of power we have, man. Jeremiah chapter 30, read verse 7, and we're going to go down to 10.
Jeremiah 30, verse 7. At last, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But he will be saved out of it.
Right, we're going to be saved out of this
For
trouble.
it shall come to pass in that day, says the Most High, Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and the strangers shall no more serve themselves of them.
Stop right there, Ak. So he's telling you right
But
there.
they-
Hold on, Ak. That verse, you got a lot of meat in that verse. It says, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Most High of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. So we got a yoke on our neck. Remember in Deuteronomy 28, the curses, it says that yoke will be on our neck until we turn away from sin and return to him. But he says when we return, he will break the yoke off of our necks. The yoke is all the things going on against us in this kingdom. Okay? It says it will burst thy bonds. All right? And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So all the strangers of this earth today are serving themselves of us. We serve them so they could benefit off of us. Okay? That's why we've been in slavery for 400 years. They're making money, hands over money. So the Most High said he's going to put that to an end. Read on. Verse
For
9.
it shall come to pass in that day, says the Lord Yahweh, that I will break the yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves unto him.
All right.
But they shall serve the Lord Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them.
Mm-hmm. Read on.
Therefore, fear thou not, O servant Jacob,
Yeah, don't fear. Come on.
says Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and will thy seed from the land of their captivity.
Right, your children. This was the
And
seed.
Jacob shall return. Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make them afraid.
Good job, Art. That's what I needed.
For I am
That's it.
he.
That's it, Art. So, I mean, basically, that's the point. The Most High is telling you, look, don't be afraid. Continue to keep the laws. I don't care what these people tell you. I don't care how they act. He says, continue to follow it, and eventually, I'm going to break the yoke off your necks because of your diligence. And I'm going to save you from the hand who have taken you into captivity. And I'm going to give you everything that they have taken away from you and give it back to you. So this is what we have. This is our hope. This is the hope that we look for. Okay? So are there any questions, any comments?
Yeah, this is your R. Go Akum. And the water, first of all, the Yahweh, by Shem Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah.
Hallelujah.
And thank you also, hallelujah. But we closed it, and I'm glad you went back to Jeremiah 30, because when I had read that previously, and something stood out on that, because it was like the topic of the lesson, powers of our body. I mean, looking at Israel as being not just a body of one individual as far as self, but that's definitely included in that, but also as a body, as a nation,
As
God's chosen, apple of his eye.
Right.
And we look at, like you brought up Deuteronomy, it seems like it started off with verses 1 through 14, speaking about how the Most High would treat Israel and how we will stand as individuals and as a body and a nation. But then it went from 15 to 68, as we all know so well, what happens when we become sick, if you would, as individuals, suffering by diseases, famines, and as a nation by captivity, oppression, and all of these things. And then we brought it back out in 30 when we had verses 12 through 14 that said, "For thus says Jehovah, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicine." That kind of goes back to that scripture in Deuteronomy. It says that no man can save you. In other words, when you're in that condition of falling away from the commandments, laws, statutes, that's the sickness. And it's no cure for that.
Nope.
And the cure is, though, well, it is, the cure for that outside of the commandments is no cure. The prescription that was given to us was found like this. Jeremiah seems to mirror Deuteronomy chapter 30. It talks about the restoration and the prescription for curing Israel as individuals and as a nation. And one verse in Jeremiah 30, verse 17, I just want to read real quick, because this is the fulfillment of that prescription. It says, "For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, said the Most High, because they called thee as outcast, saying, This is I, whom no man seeketh after."
Look at that.
So I just brought it all home to me, and that's the cure. You know, we all know it. Barzal mentioned it in his comments as far as getting back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Brings us back to Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, and we're not sick at that point. We are healed, we are prosperous, and we are the apple of the Most High's eye.
That's right.
But when we fall away from that, that's where we are right now. That sickness, whether we got our single sicknesses with bodies, or we're suffering as a nation. But we waking up, which brought us back to that 1 Corinthians 3:9, that God's building that you brought out. So this is a great lesson, and that's what I just wanted to share with y'all. That's why I related that to it, and it is a healing of that, and we can do it.
That's right, brother. I love your debriefing on that whole segment. That was good debriefing, and that's pretty much it. We just gotta recognize our sins and know how to change from them, and the Most High hears. And you know, He hears us all the time. It's just that we haven't figured out what He hears, and He's not going to hear us if we continue to stay in sin. If we're walking in the light, then our eyes will open. You know, and He'll start restoring us and showing us things in the scriptures that people read over all the time, and it'll be like honey to our mouths every time we see something new, and that's the blessing of it. And that's just that's something so small, but so great to Him. You know, and once we all get on that page, man, I can't even imagine the blessings that He's going to give us. This is going to be unbelievable to our children too. You know, so. You got anything to say, Most High thundering out here, man. This is thundering.
Nah, that was heavy, man. I mean, I appreciate it. What brings me joy when I see brothers just to wake up. You know what I mean? That's my joy.
Had to come out. Had to come out. All right, we're gonna go ahead and close it down. All praises to the Most High. We give Him all praise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Without Him, nothing can be done. But we're going to say our prayer to the Most High. Say it again, we'll close out.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.